Everybody feels lonely from time to time. Perhaps when you have no one to sit next to at lunch, or when you move to a new city, leaving your old life behind. Maybe nobody has time for you on the weekend, and you find yourself scrolling through social media, seeing everyone else seemingly having fun, feeling left out. But over the last few decades, this occasional passing feeling has become chronic for millions of us. It's a silent epidemic affecting hearts worldwide, even in our hyper-connected age. In the UK, a staggering 60% of 18 to 34-year-olds say they often feel lonely. Across the Atlantic in the US, 46% of the entire population regularly experiences loneliness. It's a paradox, isn't it? Our phones buzz with notifications, our social media feeds overflow, but our hearts often ache for genuine connection. We live in the most connected time, yet feel so isolated. But here's a crucial distinction. Being lonely and being alone are not the same thing. You can be filled with bliss by yourself, finding peace and joy in your own company. Conversely, you can hate every second surrounded by friends, feeling utterly disconnected even in a group, struggling to feel seen or understood. Loneliness is purely subjective. If you feel lonely, you are lonely. There's no objective measure, no external validation needed. Your feeling is your truth, and it's valid. A common stereotype is that loneliness only happens to people who don't know how to talk or behave around others. But studies show social skills make practically no difference for adults. Loneliness can affect everybody. Money, fame, power, beauty, social skills, a great personality, nothing can protect you against it. This is because it's part of your biology. Loneliness isn't just a feeling, it's a bodily function, much like hunger. Just as hunger makes you pay attention to your physical needs, loneliness makes you pay attention to your social needs. It's your body's signal for connection. Your body cares deeply about your social needs because millions of years ago, connection was a great indicator of how likely you were to survive. Natural selection rewarded our ancestors for collaboration, for forming strong, unbreakable bonds. Our brains fine-tuned to recognize what others thought and felt. Being social became part of our biology, ingrained in our very being. You were born into groups, which you usually stayed with for life. Getting enough calories, staying safe and warm, or caring for offspring was practically impossible alone. Being together meant survival. Being alone meant death. So it was crucial that you got along with others. The most dangerous threat was not a lion, but being excluded from your group. To avoid that, your body came up with social pain. It's an evolutionary adaptation to rejection, an early warning system to stop behavior that would isolate you. Your ancestors who experienced rejection as more painful were more likely to change their behavior, staying in the tribe. Those who didn't got kicked out and most likely died. That's why rejections hurt so much, and even more so, why loneliness is so painful. These mechanisms worked great until humans built a new world. The loneliness epidemic we see today really only started in the late Renaissance. Western culture began to focus on the individual, celebrating personal achievement. Intellectuals moved away from collectivism, and Protestant theology stressed individual responsibility. This trend accelerated during the Industrial Revolution. People left their villages and fields for factories. Communities that had existed for hundreds of years began to dissolve, while cities grew. As our world rapidly became modern, this trend sped up. Today, we move vast distances for new jobs, love, and education, leaving our social nets behind. We meet fewer people in person, and we meet them less often than in the past. Our interactions are increasingly digital, creating a sense of superficial connection. In the US, the mean number of close friends dropped from 3 in 1985 to just 2 in 2011. A stark decline in intimate connections that truly nourish us. Most people stumble into chronic loneliness by accident. You reach adulthood and become busy with work, university, romance, kids, and Netflix. There's just not enough time. The most convenient and easy thing to sacrifice is time with friends. It feels harmless at first, until you wake up one day and you realize that you feel isolated, that you yearn for those close, meaningful relationships you once had. But it's hard to find close relationships as adults. The spontaneous connections of youth often feel out of reach, and so loneliness can become chronic. While humans feel pretty great about things like iPhones and spaceships, our bodies and minds are fundamentally the same they were 50,000 years ago. We are still biologically fine-tuned to being with each other. Our ancient needs haven't changed, even if our world has. Large-scale studies have shown that the stress that comes from chronic loneliness is among the most unhealthy things we can experience as humans. It makes you age quicker, it makes cancer deadlier, Alzheimer's advance faster, and your immune system's weaker. Loneliness is twice as deadly as obesity and as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes a day. Let that sink in for a moment. The most dangerous thing about it is that once it becomes chronic, it can become self-sustaining, a vicious cycle you get trapped in. Physical and social pain use common mechanisms in your brain. Both feel like a threat. And so, social pain leads to immediate and defensive behavior. When loneliness becomes chronic, your brain goes into self-preservation mode. It starts to see danger and hostility everywhere. Some studies found that when you're lonely, your brain is much more receptive and alert to social signals, but gets worse at interpreting them correctly. The part of your brain that recognizes faces gets out of tune and becomes more likely to categorize neutral faces as hostile, making you distrustful of others. Loneliness makes you assume the worst about others' intentions towards you. You build invisible walls, expecting rejection before it even happens. Because of this perceived hostile world, you can become more self-centered to protect yourself, which can make you appear more cold, unfriendly, and socially awkward than you really are. If loneliness has become a strong presence in your life, the first thing you can do is to try to recognize the vicious cycle you may be trapped in. It usually goes something like this. Initial isolation leads to tension and sadness, making you focus selectively on negative interactions. This makes your thoughts about yourself and others more negative, which then changes your behavior. You begin to avoid social interaction. This cycle becomes more severe and harder to escape. Loneliness makes you sit far away, not answer the phone, or decline invitations until they stop. Each of us has a story about ourselves. If your story becomes that people exclude you, others pick up on that, and the world reflects your feelings. This is often a slow creeping process that takes years and can end in depression and a mental state that can prevent connections even if you yearn for them. The first thing you can do to escape it is to accept that loneliness is a totally normal feeling and nothing to be ashamed of. Literally everybody feels lonely at some point in their life. It's a universal human experience that connects us all, not isolates us. You can't eliminate or ignore a feeling until it goes away magically. But you can accept that you feel it and then work to get rid of its cause. You can self-examine what you focus your attention on and check if you are selectively focusing on negative things in interactions. Was this interaction with a colleague really negative? Or was it mutual or even positive? Did you add extra meaning to their words, projecting your fears? Maybe another person was not reacting negatively, but just short on time. We often jump to conclusions. Then there are your thoughts about the world. Are you assuming the worst about others' intentions? Do you enter a social situation with a predetermined negative outcome? Do you assume others don't want you around? Are you trying to avoid being hurt and not risking opening up? If so, can you give them the benefit of the doubt? Can you risk being open and vulnerable again? It's a scary step, but a necessary one for genuine connection. And lastly, your behavior. Are you avoiding opportunities to be around others? Are you pushing away others preemptively to protect yourself? Are you really looking for new connections? Or have you become complacent with your situation of isolation? Of course, every person and each situation is unique, and just introspection alone might not be enough. Legal disclaimer. If you feel unable to solve your situation alone, please try to reach out and get professional help. It's not a sign of weakness, but of courage. However we look at loneliness, as a purely individual problem or as a public health crisis, it is something that deserves more attention. Humans have built a world that is nothing short of amazing, with incredible technological advancements and comforts. And yet none of the shiny things we have made is able to satisfy or substitute our fundamental and biological need for connection. Most animals get what they need from their physical surroundings, but we, however, get what we need from each other. Our well-being, our happiness, our very survival depends on genuine human connection, and we need to build our artificial human world based on that profound understanding. Let's create a world where connection thrives.